and the past. That should have been added to it. You know, the full title of the video is actually Voyage to the Future and the Past, but it was too long for the thumbnail, that's why I left it off. Hey there, how are you doing? Welcome to LiveProg, I am Marcel. How is your Tuesday going? What have you been listening to today? I have been listening to something, and there's a reason for it. A while ago I received an email. Now, I receive lots of emails, but this one piqued my curiosity, as they say, because it was a mail from De Pul in Uden, which is a venue where a lot of prog bands perform, and they announced a show for September 2026. There we have the future bit. That's a year in advance, and they're starting to sell tickets already. And that got me thinking, but before I continue, this is going to be a real challenge. But let's put 2 minutes on the clock. There we go. I got an email from a band that's going to perform next year at the Pul in Uden, and they are, well, they're not asking you to buy tickets now, but a year in advance you can already buy the tickets. That is happening a lot. A lot of bands announce shows like a year in advance, and then hopefully, you know, the fans buy the tickets. In a way, I understand that, because these days you have to sell enough tickets, you have to get enough people to the venues to get booked. If not enough tickets will be sold in this year, there's a chance that that show that was announced now is not going to happen. It already happened. In a Facebook group I already read that a double headliner show was cancelled because not enough tickets were sold. I always find that a little bit difficult, because can I already know that next year I will be in the position to go to that show? Maybe I've already purchased a ticket, but still, I don't know what happens in the next year. So I always find it very difficult to buy tickets a year in advance. But I understand the whole thing, and I'm curious, what is your take about it? How do you feel about it? Are you like, okay, no problem with that? Or are you like, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I prefer to buy my tickets earlier on, or I prefer to go to the venue and buy my ticket there. But then there's a risk that a show might not go on. Yeah, so that's a bit of a pickle. That was one thing I wanted to do, and I see that I'm already running out of time, but I really hope you can forgive me that I am going across that 2-minute mark today, because I want to spell. The next part is both future and past that I want to mention, because the band that was announced was Voyage 35. Yeah, you might know this one. Voyage 34 by Porcupine Tree. This is one of my favorite Porcupine Tree albums, and as you can see, I have a bunch of them here. I'll put a close-up in case they're not all in the picture. What I have here are all the albums, starting from On the Sunday of Life all the way up to Lightbulb Sun, from 1992 to 2000. That era is pretty much an era that, well, Porcupine Tree doesn't really play anymore, but even in the past, that was an era that they didn't really play any songs of. And there were two gentlemen, and you've already seen them if you've seen the thumbnail, two gentlemen that had like, man, I missed that. Colin Edwin and John Wesley. Now, Colin Edwin is of course known as, you know, he's been the bass player for Porcupine Tree for many years. And John Wesley has been the touring guitarist, vocalist for Porcupine Tree also for many years. Now, these two have joined forces and have come up with Voyage 35, a new band. Is it a new band? Is it a tribute band? Because they are going to perform material from this era, and especially songs that haven't been played since Coma Divine, like Radioactive Toy. I've never heard that song live. Not that I've seen Porcupine Tree that many times, but I've never heard that song. I love it. So those kind of songs they are going to perform. I think it's pretty awesome that they're going to do that, because I know Steven Wilson doesn't really care much for the old Porcupine Tree stuff. You know, he's more into the newer, for as much as he still does anything with Porcupine Tree, of course, because he's focused on his solo career mostly. But still, I personally, I'm kind of excited, because I get a chance to probably hear songs live that I've never heard before. And what they're going to do is give a little bit of their own take on the whole thing. Yeah, I'm interested in that. So, on the one hand, it is a bit of a tribute band. even though one of the original members is a part of it. And at the same time, they do want to bring something fresh, something new. They want to go back to that era, to that psychedelic time, the swinging 70s. I don't know if it's the 70s, but you know, the groovy idea. When you look at, they have a website, voyage35.com. If you look at that website, you get that 70s vibe, that you know, Austin Powers vibe, that 70s show, that kind of stuff. That's the vibe that I'm getting from it. I really like that. I love this kind of music, and especially, you know, Voyage 34, we all know what it's about, of course, but that music, it's, yeah, I really love to listen to it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. What about you? Are you like, hey man, that's cool, I'm curious, I want to know more about this? Or are you like, yeah, this is more like a glorified Porcupine tribute band. That's not my thing. That's not my bag, baby. That is possible, of course. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the whole ticket thing? Tickets buying a year in advance and Voyage 35, yay or nay? Let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for watching and see you next Tuesday.